love SpongeBob. It's one of my favorite shows while I was younger and still is now. But to everything that's good, there is bad. And there's a lot of horrible episodes of SpongeBob. And when I say horrible, I mean horrible. So I made a list of what I think is the top 5 worst SpongeBob episodes. So let's get started, shall we? Number 5. Are you happy now? So Squidward says he never had a happiest moment in his life, which is a downright lie since he's been happy so many times in episodes before this one. And so SpongeBob decides to do something about it by trying to give Squidward a happiest moment, which he keeps failing because something keeps ruining it. This then makes Squidward depressed to the point of locking himself in his house and just feeling like he wants to die. Yeah, what a great story for a children's show. And they even make a fucking suicide joke, making it look like Squidward's putting up a noose, but then you realize it's a pet clam. That's just messed up. Soon, later SpongeBob gets him out of the house and brings him to the Krusty Krab where there's all these paper mache SpongeBobs. And Squidward loses it and rips up all the SpongeBob saying it was his happiest moment. That was just disturbing. This episode was not enjoyable at all. It never gave Squidward a break from being constantly tortured. I really feel bad for him and the people who have him as his favorite character. Number 4. Divilus and Doofus. Okay, I hate this episode. I would have put it at number 1, but that's just mostly because I hate Mrs. Puff as a character, but that's not really a good reason, so I'm putting it at number 4. So this episode, I despise Mrs. Puff. So SpongeBob permanently deflates Mrs. Puff, and so she is staying in the hospital. And she just goes crazy for her hatred for SpongeBob, and she makes a plan to get him killed. She just went full bonkers. What the hell were the writers thinking when they wrote this episode? Like, I knew Mrs. Puff disliked SpongeBob, but not to the point of killing him. I don't even have much else to say about this episode, but god damn. Number 3, the Splinter. Okay, do I really need to explain this one? It's gross, disturbing, and gross. I remember I watched this episode when I was younger and I actually gagged. Just how it just keeps getting worse in that scene where he actually showed a Splinter go in. How Patrick just made it worse with smashing it farther into SpongeBob's thumb just makes me cringe thinking about it. Like, I feel so sorry for the animators that had to make this episode. Just how detailed and gross it looked. Like, what the fuck were these writers thinking? I feel so bad for the children that watched this episode like I did. Number 2, A Pal for Gary. This episode was just horrific. Like, poor Gary. SpongeBob adopts this new seems-to-be-cute pet that names Fluffy that looks like a ball of gross and ends up being a horrific monster. When SpongeBob first brings the ball of gross home, Gary does not like it, and it's obvious that he does not like it. The new pet ends up doing things that SpongeBob yells at Gary for because he thinks he did them. Then after he puts him to bed, this huge gross-ass monster is about to eat Gary, and SpongeBob comes in yelling at Gary for putting the monster down when the monster is holding Gary. Now, Patrick is not even that stupid. Then after Gary saves SpongeBob, SpongeBob gets pissed at him for getting rid of Fluffy. Ugh, what the hell? And number 1 is One Course Meal. This episode is the worst SpongeBob episode I have ever watched. So Plankton is trying to steal the secret formula, and Pearl comes in making Plankton terrified because whales eat plankton, and that gives Mr. Krabs a horrible idea to dress up as Pearl and make Plankton paranoid to the point he won't leave his room. Then, when Plankton can't take it anymore, he goes out to the road to get ran over, and SpongeBob tells Mr. Krabs about it, and he thinks it's funny. He laughs at Plankton trying to commit suicide. This is evil. Here, Mr. Krabs is more evil than Plankton has ever been in any SpongeBob episode. SpongeBob then comes out and tells Plankton the truth about Plankton being tricked by Mr. Krabs on how he was dressing up as Pearl. And then Mr. Krabs gets scared from his mind whatever at the end, which makes no sense. He should be like freaking arrested for what he did to Plankton. Like, holy fuck, what the fuck? Worst SpongeBob episode I've ever freaking seen. What's your pick for the worst SpongeBob episode? Is it one that's not on the list? Put it in the comments, I would like to know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in a future video. Bye-bye!